Hello crafters, this is Yana Smakula. Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm thrilled to share several modern cards featuring a new die collection by my friend Vicky with Spellbinders. This year, Spellbinders has teamed up with some fantastic designers and card makers to bring you unique influencer collections. And Vicky's collection is one of them. This collection is called Birdhouses Through the Seasons, and it features 4 different birdhouse die sets, each designed to work for a different season: summer, fall, winter, and spring. There's also a set of birds and a set of sentiment stamps, so you have everything you need to make the seasonal birdhouse cards. It's a very clever collection, and it is very well designed, too. I have a slightly different approach to these products. My cards use the birdhouses in a different way. I wanted to make floral birdhouses for birthday and thank you cards. These are the type of cards I seem to always lack in my craft stash, and I always have the most need for them. And I know everyone loves flowers, plus I'm kind of obsessed with these flowers from Spellbinders with these floral dies, so I wanted to pair the birdhouses with the floral dies and then add some simple foiled sentiments in a dark, dramatic background. If you're looking for some more traditional card examples using these birdhouse dies, I encourage you to pop over to Vicky's YouTube channel and blog. She has created some fantastic projects, so do check them out. I started working on my projects by foiling the sentiments. Here I have a Hello hot foil plate from Spellbinders. This is from the Scalloped Rectangle Glimmer Essential set. This was a Glimmer hot foil kit of the month from February 2021. If you don't have this set, it is now available separately outside of the club membership. So anyone can purchase it on the Spellbinders website. You don't need to be a club member. And I also have a sub-sentiment that reads, Happy Birthday. The sub-sentiment comes from a different set from Spellbinders, the Mini Everyday Glimmer Sentiments, and this set has been one of my go-to sentiment sets lately. I tend to reach for sentiments from this set nearly every time I make a card. So just like with clear or rubber stamps, you can combine your glimmer plates to build your own custom sentiments. Here I'm combining Hello from one set and Happy Birthday from another set. I did use a piece of tape. This is the Spellbinders Best Ever Craft Tape to secure the 2 plates together. I made sure they were aligned by using the grid lines on my grid pad, and then I transferred the sentiment onto the background panel. Now this is gorgeous midnight green cardstock from Simon Says Stamp. I personally adore this dark green color. It makes for a perfect dramatic background, and it foils rather nicely too. And that's something that matters a great deal to me lately as I do more and more foiling. Of course, not everyone is a fan of dark backgrounds like this, so if you prefer a lighter background, you can always substitute this for a white or cream or some other light color cardstock. I used a ruler and again those grid lines on my grid pad, and I created a hinge with another piece of tape. This is my favorite method of getting a foil plate affixed on the paper. This allows me to flip the plate away and easily add my foil, then flip the plate back without messing anything up. This also allows you to double foil should you need to do so in case your foiling didn't turn out quite the best the first time. Now, this was the method I used to foil all of my cards that I'm sharing today. Here I have my Glimmer hot foil system. I had it turned on for a few minutes now, so it is now ready to foil. I pressed the timer button and added my shims on top, and now we just need to wait for about 1 minute for the glimmer plate to become hot enough in foil. Once it is hot enough, that last green light will stop flashing and it will turn solid green. If you're new to the hot foiling process and the glimmer machine, I invite you to browse my hot foiled playlist here on YouTube. It includes all of my videos on hot foil stamping, and you'll find the instructions as well as my top tips for hot foiling. My shims, as you can see, have been well loved and well used. I have a lot of leftover foil on the surface, but this doesn't affect the quality of the foiling, so it doesn't bother me much. If you ever get foil transfer onto your shims and want to clean it up, you can use the sticker remover product such as Undo. It works like a charm. The light on my glimmer machine has stopped flashing, and that means I can take the platform out of the docking station and to my die cutting machine to foil. The next step is to send it through my die cutting machine to apply pressure and transfer that foil. You do need to send it slowly. I would suggest to not rush it through. I like to go forward and back and bring your platform back into the docking station so that it remains hot and you can foil your next piece if you continue to foil other elements. Now, the best part of this process is, of course, peeling the foil. So let's take a look at this one. And yeah, I think it foiled perfectly. I used copper foil for these cards as I wanted to step away from the traditional gold. And here's that other sentiment that I foiled too. Having foiled the sentiments, we are now ready to build our birdhouses and make the cards. I have done all of my die cutting off camera, and first I tried using various types of cardstock, both regular and specialty, to die cut the birdhouses. So I have cut several birdhouses from wood grain cardstock in various colors. Here's one in white and dark brown. And here's one that was cut from wood paper. I think this is cardstock from Alt New, but I'm not entirely sure. I'll have all of the papers linked below along with all the other supplies that I'm using. And this one is cut from light gray wood grain cardstock, and this one is from brown. Now here is one birdhouse that was cut just from regular cardstock, and it looks just as nice. When I compare the two, you can see that both have texture. The wood grain paper does offer additional texture to your die cut, but even if you don't have any specialty paper, you can just as easily cut these birdhouses from regular cardstock, and the die adds the texture by itself. So here's a close-up of the die. You can see that it doesn't just cut, it is designed to also add all of these beautiful textures and details to your birdhouse. So this is done in a very clever way. And every birdhouse die in this collection is like this. It has texture and it adds interest to your die cut. The way I like to build my birdhouse is I cut the same image from two different colors of cardstock. I then cut the roof part off using scissors. The die is designed so that it makes it very easy for you to cut the roof off. And I then layer the roof piece over the main birdhouse die cut, like so. You can adhere it using glue or even pop it up a little bit to add dimension. And that's pretty much all there is to making a pretty birdhouse. Each birdhouse die set comes with little bits and pieces to dress it up, and it matches the season. So we'd have the poinsettia, for example, for the Christmas or for the winter birdhouse. Then you would have acorns and fall leaves and florals for the fall birdhouse. And then you have the nest and the little flowers and the eggs for the spring birdhouse, and so on. This particular die comes with a beautiful nest die and even some eggs to make a spring or perhaps even an Easter card. I have foam mounted the birdhouse onto my background with a foiled sentiment, and next I'm going to foam mount the nest on top. Now, the way this nest is designed is it has an opening for you to insert items inside. So you can add a bird if you want, or those eggs that I mentioned, or flowers. When you add your adhesive to adhere the nest, just make sure you do not block the opening, or you won't be able to use it. If you're using foam adhesive, try adding it somewhat like so. I've also die cut lots of pretty flowers to decorate my birdhouses. Now, the flowers come from two different sets from Spellbinders, from mini blooms and sprigs, and also from Simply Perfect layered blooms die sets. The birdhouses do come with their own florals, as they are seasonal, but I wanted to use these particular flowers instead. I had a bunch of them cut previously, and I just cut some additional in different colors. I picked different color schemes for my cards, and for this one, I went with yellow. So I have my dark green background, a gorgeous white birdhouse with a light gray roof and light gray nest, and then yellow flowers cut from Spellbinders beeswax and saffron cardstock. The green leaves and the sprigs were cut from the Spellbinders peridot cardstock. There is a separate die set to create all sorts of birds to add to your birdhouses. And you can add a bird to the birdhouse or not. I don't think you have to add a bird. The birdhouses look just as pretty without the birds, but the birds surely do add a little bit of character to the project. Here I cut one bird from white and green cardstock, and I'm going to insert him into the nest. I think he completes this card quite nicely. Lastly, to dress up the florals on my cards, I'm adding several jewels from Pretty Pink Posh, and they finish off these florals quite nicely. You'll see me use these floral dies quite a lot in a few upcoming videos, and I've also used them on another card that I shared not too long ago on my blog. To me, these are like the perfect little florals to dress up just about any project you can think of. I dressed up all of the birdhouses today using various color florals, and here for this one, for example, I went with a light blue and white florals. Now this particular birdhouse is actually much taller. It is nearly twice as tall, but I trimmed mine as I wanted to have a shorter one for this card. So you can always alter your die cuts to suit your needs. Just keep that in mind. Here is another card I made where I used the full length of the birdhouse, so you can see how completely different it looks. For my last birdhouse card, I went with pink flowers, and I also added a darling little bow. The bow comes included in one of the birdhouse die sets, and it is the kind of die that you can use over and over again, separate from the birdhouse. It just adds a darling little touch to just about any card. Here, I think it pairs quite nicely with the florals. So here's a look at all three cards, the modern birdhouse cards I have for you today, created with Vicky's Birdhouse collection for Spellbinders. I hope you found this video useful. If you make a card inspired by this video, I'd love it if you shared your project online and tagged me on social media. I always love seeing what you guys are making. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet done so. Thanks so much for joining me today. Love you guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye!